Here is my public service announcement for the day. You do not need to give up money, sex, family, your worldly possessions, and move to the top of a mountain just to find peace and wellness in your life. Our guest today has years of experience helping busy urban people restyle their lives to focus on wellness and happiness. He does this by combining holistic, ancient Eastern practices with practical applications for everyday modern life. I will introduce you to him in just a moment, but first I want to thank you for being here with me today. My name is Noelle Stearns, and I am coming to you live from 1440 Multiversity, which is in Scotts Valley, California, in Santa Cruz County. And today we are delighted to be joined by Dr. Pedram Shojai, also known as the Urban Monk. He is the founder of Well.org and the editor of Be More magazine. He's a doctor of Oriental medicine, a Qigong master, a student of Kung Fu and Tai Chi, and a former Taoist monk. He is also a New York Times bestselling author of The Urban Monk, Rise and Shine, and most recently, The Art of Stopping Time. He is the producer and director of the movies Vitality, Origins, and Prosperity. And we're so honored to have him as a faculty member here at 1440 Multiversity. And he'll be leading a program March 11th through 16th called The Art of Stopping Time. So without further ado, everyone, please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Dr. Pedram Shojai. Hi, Dr. Pedram. Thank you for being here.
Very nice to be here. Nice to see you.
So I love the concept of bridging Eastern philosophies with a Western lifestyle. That's so amazing. So for you, what would you say is the goal of all this? I mean, what are you trying to help people do or be?
I think one of the fundamental flaws in our interface with Eastern traditions and all these things has been this misconception that yoga, meditation, all these practices are, these things that you got to run for the hills and practice. So it's like shave your head, be a monk, run off, let go of all your worldly possessions. And so, we're all pretty stressed out about not getting 90 minutes of yoga in a day, or, being able to sit on your cushion for, 45 minutes in the morning now that you have kids or whatever, whatever your circumstances are. And I think that it's really a misread of the scripture. And I really think that, if you look at what most people are as householders, not ascetics, ascetics can afford to spend 4 or 5 hours meditating a day because that's their deal, right? That's what they're doing. Householders have bills, they have family, they traffic, they got all these other things. And so there is a different script, there's a different narrative that householders have to live by. And I think that that's been kind of lost in translation. So how does one live a righteous life? How does one practice what they preach? How does one remember to breathe in the elevator or while sitting in traffic? Those are things that I've been teaching for a while now, because normal people are the ones that were coming into my clinics freaked out and, stressed out about the lives that they were leading. And, they're splashing up on the beach of my practice or my workshops and all this stuff. And, it's not from lack of trying. It's just kind of doing the wrong stuff, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So what would be some of the right stuff? Do you have any hacks?
Yeah, I mean, lots. Yeah, it's the thing really is, be like, oh, here's this 3-minute meditation that's going to change your life. And I can tell you right now that that's all bullshit, right? It's about the orientation of the user to find a way to have a better operating system with this thing called life, so that, it's like you're just going to get it in. Like right now, like I've been doing all these backflips on Facebook Live for my community, because I'm like, why not? My kids are older. I'm going back to backflipping, and my hips are tight. So I'm literally sitting here stretching my hip while talking to you, right? It's like, oh, when am I going to stretch, right? I'm always stretching. I'm always, anchoring my chi. I'm always breathing. And, if I get ahead of myself and I feel like I'm kind of getting short on breath, it's probably because I'm not slowing down to breathe enough, right? And so building that mindfulness into your day-to-day practice, but then also having meditation that allows you to contemplate the nature of self. These are things that just, they haven't really been taught well in the West, and really no framework that, smart people can follow in a way that where they're like, okay, yeah, I get it. Now I get how to, kind of look at all this stuff. And it's not like, oh, now I'm going to do the Pedram system. It's like everyone tries to like reinvent meditation and all these things like, oh no, I've rediscovered this ancient stuff. That's all crap, right? What matters is learning how to use these things in the correct way as tools in your life.
Right. And integrating them with our busy urban lifestyle. I think I heard you in another interview mention every time you see a red light, why don't you reframe that and think of it as like a trigger to take a moment to breathe deeply, things like that. Do you have any other little examples like that you could share with us?
Sure. I mean, listen, anytime you find yourself frustrated because someone, whether it's a waitress or a red light or something, has asked you to wait, right? It's a perfect reframe to be like, yo, I keep telling myself I never have time. This lady just gave me time. And here I am being, annoyed about it. Here I am being pissed off about this time that now, is idle. It's like, great, let's meditate, let's breathe, let's stretch, let's, call mom, whatever it is that you're behind on. That time is now yours to reinvest in the things that you've been kind of stuck behind. And so again, all these reframes to look at where the day starts to kind of crack for you and give you opportunities to step into any kind of practice. And the practice is really what you need at that time. Sometimes I got to do burpees and sometimes I got to lie flat on my back, and somewhere in between is what my practice is that day.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And actually, my boss, when she reads her emails, she will do squats and read them from her phone. And that's another little example of just carving out those times to implement these practices.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at home today. There's a problem with the internet at our office, and I was like, great, I love working from home. Kids are at school, which makes it possible. But this is a standing station. Like, I don't want to sit any more than I have to. And after 25 minutes, it's like even standing that long sucks, right? So you keep moving, you keep giving your body what it needs, and you keep listening to your body. It makes a big difference.
I love that. And I want to take a moment to welcome some of our new viewers. So hi, we're with Dr. Pedram Shojai. And if you have any questions for him, feel free to write them in the comments and we'll try to get to them. But I want to shift gears a little bit and, well, maybe it's the same gear, but can you explain to us what the art of stopping time is?
Yeah, most people I would see in the clinic, most people I would see in my workshops, everyone's complaining about not having enough time, not having enough energy. And to me, time, energy, and money are all kind of on a continuum, and you'll swap or trade one for the other. And so everyone's trying to like find some efficiency or find some qigong practice that's going to make them better. All sorts of like technique stuff. Like give me the one thing that I obviously am missing. Oh, great guru, and all that's crap, right? It's like, okay, why don't we just take a look at your life and see where you're being sloppy? Let's just take a look at your life and see where you can stop to kind of smell the flowers. And so what I did was, I kind of, after the urban monks in like 30 some odd languages, I was like, I'm done. I don't need to write a book for a while. And then this concept came to me where I was just like, man, people don't even have time to read a 300-page book. Mm-hmm. So what we did was we kind of worked through this concept and said, you know what, I'm going to do 1 to 2 page chapters every day. For 100 days, you're just going to read a couple pages, and it's just a little part of life that you're going to look at a little differently today. And that's it. And it became this like journey through life, because guess what? 100 days from now, you're going to be 100 days older either way. So let's just take this slower walk and look at it. And, we had like an outside panel do a test with a bunch of people who didn't know me, like average 30% improvement in like time for yourself and sleep improvement, all sorts of stuff where everyone's like, oh, it's a miracle. I'm like, it's not. It's just common sense, right? It's just common sense, but you have to take the time to do these things so that you get where you are the one spending that time, where you are the one overcommitting that time, where you are the one not maximizing your self-care in the time that you have. And so again, it's just an orientation more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any morning or evening rituals of self-care that you would suggest or that you do? Can you give us
I have my own qigong set I do every morning before I even pee, right? Because it's the first thing you do is something for yourself before the kind of automatic drudgery of, the white water of life takes over, especially with young kids, So I get up every morning, I do that first, I do some stretching, read a chapter of something, and then I'm off. I mean, I'm a busy dad, right? But in the evenings when the kids are down, I'm doing a qigong set. I'm meditating for at least 10 minutes, usually half an hour. And I try to make a practice of, seeing the stars of the moon, if the weather allows, every evening, right? And just taking a moment to pull in the majesty. And, that helps frame the day. But in my assessment, that's not enough, right? The other rituals are all built into the stuff that you're doing. Like, stop and give thanks every time a meal shows up in front of you, right? Feel what your body's telling you and be like, oh yeah, like that hip, whatever it is, let's stretch through that right now. Like, those are the things that keep one engaged. And you need to stay engaged because the energy of the world is one of dreary sleep. Right. It's one that kind of lulls you into a zombie-like state of just kind of, putting one foot in front of the other and waking up one day going, what happened? And that's really where a lot of people lose their vitality. And by the time they try to get it back, I mean, a few decades have gone by. So that's a shame, man.
Mm-hmm. And in your teachings, do you find a common resistance at all as you're, trying to help people reshape their lives?
Yeah, I mean, man, we all love our storefront, right? We all love this person, my circumstances, my troubles. Like these identity markers, help get solidified and reinforced by this story I got to keep writing, because if not, then who am I?
Right.
And the whole damn thing's a shit show, right? Like, none of that matters. And the real question is, who am I, is a question you're never going to find an answer to, but you're going to find better and better questions. So just digging in and softening the ego and really starting to understand what's making you tick and talk and what's making you react to certain things. That's where the mastery comes in, right? That's when the game begins. Is there's no one out there that has all the answers for you. There's no like magic book that you haven't heard about yet, or some manuscript that's going to change everything. It's about turning around and looking inside. And, yeah, sure, there's practices. I mean, I teach a lot from my lineage of practices that allow for you to corral your attention and bring back. But is that the only way up the mountain? Absolutely not, right? It's really, I mean, we call it retroflection in my tradition. It's about turning the light of awareness around to look back within. And that's when the game starts. That's when you start waking up to your eternal self, right? The part of you that's not afraid of dying, the part of you that's not afraid of speaking truth, lest they judge you, right? Then you get bold, then you start doing awesome things.
Yeah. And speaking of those questions that you were mentioning earlier, in your life right now, other than doing your backflips, what kind of questions and goals are you aiming for, striving for?
Yeah, I mean, as a Taoist, we talk about balance all the time, but balance is a weird thing, right? I did a feature-length theatrical release movie last year, launched a book, and launched an audio series. Just, I did a lot, right? I was gone a lot. And, my commitment this year is to spend more time with my family. And so, we're going to be in Italy for a month. Right after our session with you guys, I'll be in Italy for a month. And then I have a docu-series on the microbiome coming later this year. I have another, I can't even talk about it yet, another documentary on the books that's coming. And what feels right and where the muse kind of drives me, right? But I'm also doing a lot of Tai Chi and running with the dogs and doing the things that inspire me. So I've kind of slowed my roll a little bit. Like, you can work hard and then play hard, but you also got to sleep hard, right? Like, you have to find that balance in life. And right now for me, I'm trying to be the dad these guys need me to be. And that's way more important than I think a lot of people are out there trying to save the world, and they blow their health and their family balance in doing so. Mm-hmm. So I'm, having been around a lot of elders and mentors and just, special people, I've, you got to learn. You got to learn from the wisdom of elders, and you see what happens. I've seen the divorces. I've seen the crap. I've seen things break. So why would you walk down that road, right? And so you learn to kind of live your life in a way where you don't have those problems arise, right? Like, I put a lot of time in with my kids because, that's the time you're supposed to.
Yeah. And my next question was going to be, what is your why? Why do you do all of this? You kind of mentioned that already, but is there anything else? I mean, what brought you into this line of work, and why do you keep doing it?
As a kid, I always wanted to be a Jedi, right? And when presented with the opportunity to be a disciple of a Taoist master and learn all this cool stuff, I said yes before I could think about saying no. And so I left pre-med, UCLA, and all sorts of really interesting algorithmic life things to go off on some magical carpet ride. And I say the why really is the delusion of the human experience, right? There's so much. It's the enormity of who we truly are, and the bliss on the other side of self-realization, and just the clarity that comes when you let go of trying to pretend to be this person you think you need to be for these people who don't even know who they are, who run around buying purses that they don't need so they can feel attractive. I mean, the whole thing is just crazy, right? And so when you step out of all the crazy, you realize that there's just a shadow enveloping the consciousness of humanity. If you wake up to it, it's just like you start laughing. It's so beautiful on the other side. And so for me, I'm like, wow, more people need to see this, right? More people need to experience this. And so, here we go.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue. Everyone watching, I want to say, if you want to dig deeper with Dr. Pedram, he is teaching here at 1440 Multiversity, March 11th through 16th, and the program is called The Art of Stopping Time, Slowing Down in the Age of Overwhelm. And if you'd like more information, we do have a link in the comments in the caption. The link, I believe, let's see, I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Nope, that's gone, but you can go to 1440.org and search for The Art of Stopping Time, or search for Pedram Shojai, and there will be more information there and the area where you can register. And as far as your program goes, Dr. Pedram, is there anything you want to share with our viewers today?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it, right? We're not going to sit around and talk for that long, right? So I'm going to teach level 1 of my Taoist system that the Grand Master forbade to be videotaped before he passed. And, it's just direct transmission. Here it is. Don't take my word for it, right? I'm not asking anyone to believe anything. Just do these practices and tell me what you experience, right? And people, they keep doing it, right? It's really powerful stuff. And it forces one to wake up to themselves, right? And the practice helps calibrate, bring the awareness of body, mind, and spirit by coordinating eyes, mind, body, and breath. And so there's a lot of physical movements, and then a lot of meditation, and then let's go walk in the woods, and I want you to just kind of breathe and walk this way. And so it's the way it's supposed to be taught, right? Is you take silent contemplation. You take the show on the road, you do it in different ways, you talk about your experience. So, this is going to be the way I learned it, right? And not these like accelerated weekend workshops with bullet points and all sorts of crap. You know what I mean? Like you just gotta go sit in the woods for a few days.
Nice. That sounds amazing. So everyone, please, we hope to see you soon. And Dr. Pedram, we look forward to seeing you in March, just a few weeks. Other than your program, does any message come up for you that you want to share?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if this speaks to you, we'll see you there. But at the end of the day, if you can't make this because life circumstances are there, don't let life pass you by. You got to start getting into some sort of introspective, contemplative work that acts as an alchemical catalyst, not just a Band-Aid. I don't do yoga for stress management. I do it to find myself, right? It's the union, right? So, don't fall into this kind of watered down, diluted conversation about, yoga and meditation being, just kind of Eastern quaaludes, right? That's where the industry and the crazy people have taken it, because they don't even know what they're talking about. So, just get real and find some real practice and practice it. That's all it takes.
I love your real talk. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.